Hey YouTube folks, welcome to another video. And in today's video, folks, from our series Learning the Openings, what we're going to see here today is a very eccentric opening. The opening with the most traps in chess, which is called the Grob attack. That's right. For those who don't know, the Grob attack is very different because the first move for white is g4, which goes completely against opening principles, because the move g4 doesn't control the center at all. However, when the idea is to attack, we can make some exceptions. So this opening here can be very useful for blitz and bullet games, and it can give great results in these time controls. It's an opening that became very famous, very popular, thanks to international master Michael Besman, who is an English international master. He even wrote a book about this opening called The Killer Grob, which means the killer Grob. So, for sure, this opening here has already troubled many opponents playing black. So, without further delay, let's go straight to learning this opening now. Well, guys, here we are, and on move number 1, white plays g of 4, incredible. Well, g4, starting here, our Grob attack, it's a move that goes against the opening principles, but the idea today is to attack endlessly. So I'm going to show you here some of the main continuations for black against this line. So if you play g4, many of your opponents will keep playing here with d5, with the idea of quickly capturing this pawn. And what are we going to do in this case? Are you going to defend the little pawn? But no way. We're going to play here with the bishop to ge2, which is a quick development of this bishop on this diagonal. If black captures the pawn on g4, white's idea here is to play c4, creating pressure on the d5 point and on the b7 point, because the bishop here was diverted. So we divert the bishop from c8 to make the b7 point more vulnerable. These are the strategic ideas of the Grob attack. So here's the first critical line we reach. What happens if black captures the pawn on c4? Well, in this case, we're very happy because we'll continue with bishop takes b7 here, already winning the exchange at the beginning of the game. A possible continuation here for black is knight to d7, but after bishop takes a8 and queen takes a8, be careful, because now black is attacking the rook on h1. So white can continue here by playing f3. Bishop to h5 is a possibility, and queen to 4, now targeting the pawn on c4. So in this position, white is already very happy because they have an advantage here. Of course, black has compensation because white's king is very vulnerable. Castling is more open, and the king is more exposed. But even so, it's a very good position, and white is up the exchange. Another possibility besides this critical line where black captures here. There are lines where black wants to keep the pawn on d5, so lines with e6 and nf6 are also possible. We'll look at all of them. So the first line with e6, how do white continue? White continues with the key move of the Grob attack, which is queen b3 because it targets d5 with the bishop's pressure, and also b7, which are the two strategic themes of the opening, as I mentioned. So we always have to remember these two strategic themes to play this attack here. What happens? If black continues defending the pawn on b7 by playing bishop to b6, white can capture on d5, pawn takes pawn. Queen takes queen on d5, and now white is already winning the rook on a8 cleanly. One possible continuation is queen takes queen, bishop takes bishop on d5, knight to c7, and bishop takes a8 with a very big material gain here, okay? So if your opponent plays this, you should be really happy because you have a winning position. So this is the line with bishop to b6. Of course, always keep an eye on possible mistakes by black. And the other possibility here is to play e6. Against e6, how should white continue? In the same way, queen to b3 attacks the b7 square and the d5 square very dynamically. One possible continuation here is playing bishop to e6 would be good. When black defends with bishop to e6, we know it'll be profitable for us because the bishop becomes very active. So one possible continuation here is pawn takes pawn. Then after pawn takes pawn, now bishop takes d5, which attacks the rook on a8 and the f7 square, so black will want to defend. The rook, which is hanging, they can continue here by playing c6. And now bishop takes f7 is check, also attacking the knight. Black has two possibilities here to play the king, and now bishop takes f7 is check, also attacking the knight. Black has two possibilities here to play the king to e7 or d7. Let's suppose they play king to d7. For either of these lines, bishop takes g8 will be the continuation, okay? Suppose they play king to d7 or d7. For either line, the continuation will be bishop takes g8. So now white wins a piece here, a piece up. A big advantage, and white is also winning the game. So this little trick by Grob also works, okay? Let's look at the other possibility here, which is instead of playing e6, playing knight f6. Well, against this line, we already know we're going to play the key move of the Grob attack. Queen b3 again, attacking the d5 square and also the d7 square. Here we need to be a bit careful, okay? Because black also has some tricks against this line. I'll show them to you so you don't fall for these tricks with the Grob, okay? The trick would be to play e6 here and white captures on b7. This move here isn't very good, okay? Black can continue here with knight to d7. After pawn takes pawn and pawn takes pawn, it looks like it's going to create some tension here at the d5 point, right? So knight to c3. And now knight to c5 is a possibility here for black. And now it's white who is in trouble here. Because the queen is under attack and there are only three escape possibilities, which are queen to c6, queen to b5, or queen to b4. Let's analyze these three possibilities to see what the problem is. Queen to b4, the first possibility here, black can play knight to d3 check, with a discovered check winning the queen on b4. So after capturing the knight, bishop takes on b4. This line doesn't favor us playing as white, so that's already a problem here. Line number 2, queen to c6. Now, what's the problem with queen to c6? The problem is bishop to d7. Notice that after bishop to d7, the queen has no more escape squares. The queen can't get out anywhere, so this is also a serious problem. And the third line is queen to b5. And this is also a critical line because black can play c6 here, and the queen has no escape squares. Against c6 queen to b4 doesn't work, because we've already seen that there's knight to d3, so you have to capture here. But after capturing on c6, there's bishop to d7. The white queen has no squares in this line of the Grob opening. Avoid capturing on b7. Against this variation, as it will cause problems, be cautious and don't fall into this trap. But against the line with knight f6 and e6 white, still has a trap up their sleeve here, which would be to capture the pawn on d5 directly here. If black makes the mistake of playing knight takes d5, white has queen a4 check, and after knight c6 covering the check, the bishop on g4 is hanging cleanly. And then we're happy too, because it's another little trick that worked in the Grob. Right, guys? So there are these traps here against these variations, right? And another possible continuation here, for black instead of capturing right away, right? It would be playing with e5 against e5. There are also aggressive lines for white here, okay? So black managed to get a super strong center in this position. We're going to keep playing as white here with ge5, offering this pawn here. And if your opponent wants to capture this pawn, which has a certain danger, a queen takes on g5, attacking the bishop here. White can continue with bishop takes d5. It's a very active move, so I'm giving up the g-pawn for the d-pawn. My king is more exposed, of course. It's a very critical line. A possible continuation here is knight f6, which is a very logical move for black, now attacking the bishop on d5. White can now play knight f3 in this position, not even caring about the bishop because we're threatening the queen. So a possible continuation for black is to play queen g2, because now black creates two threats. the rook on 1 is attacked. And the bishop on d5 as well. So how will white solve this problem? Because now there are 2 pieces under threat. White can continue here with bishop takes f7. Remember this move because it's very strong. Black will capture this bishop. And now white plays rook g1. Notice that the queen doesn't have many escape squares, only one, h3. And against h3, we have knight g5 check, winning the queen. Another trick from the Grob that can work very well. So guys, this opening here brings a lot of traps, as we've seen today. It can work very well in blitz games and bullet games. It's an opening that can be part of your repertoire. I'm going to do some tests with the Grob because I got really excited about this opening. Thanks, everyone. Well, guys, if you like this video, go ahead and leave a like. If you're not subscribed to the channel yet, subscribe down below. It's quick and easy. See you in the next videos, everyone. Thanks.